back in the studio. All right, we're good. Fresh Takes Podcast, Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo. Across from me, as always, Mad Myth, the legend himself, fresh cut, fresh style going today. Nick Felice. Nick, how you doing today? You got the fresh, little trim going on in the beard section even today, too.
Thank you, man. Thanks for noticing. Yeah, we got a good show for you on hand today. Olympics almost done.
How do you feel about the Olympics? I'm not as hyped about them this year as I usually am.
I'm a huge Olympics guy. Huge. Been watching them as best as I can. I don't watch the replays. I don't get the hype around a replay during the day. You know how they show them during the day? Yeah. I don't get the hype. It has to be live. It has to be live for me. It's the only time I can watch it is late at night. Because I go to bed pretty late. So I watch for a little bit. I don't get up in time to watch the prime time ones in the morning. But, I enjoy it. Next one's in Paris, so that'll be a little bit better for me. But
slightly better time difference.
Yep. Summer League started today as well as going on right now. Boeheim's Army in the championship game. Yeah. So they need to get their first ring. Even though starting lineup is majority not from Syracuse.
Also going on tonight, we have a tendency of breaking baseball news on here if you don't know. The Astros are in LA tonight with a full crowd for the first time since, the incident.
What happened?
Oh, we already have apparently fans outside chanting cheaters and trash cans. So, hey, if anything happens, we'll be gladly to break in with news about...
Not the 10, though.
I thought it was like 9:40. I don't know. We probably won't be here for it, but either way. It's fun to speculate. But yeah, I know. I'm with you. It's been tough because, for instance, I'm so happy, obviously, baseball and softball are back in the Olympics. For instance, that USA-Japan baseball game, the extra inning game, started at 3 o'clock in the morning here. Yeah. And it ended pretty much as I was walking, kind of out the door for work.
It was a good game.
So it's tough. I mean,
they need to get some more teams in it.
Well, it's also their first year back in obviously a decade plus. So I'm looking forward to it, though, that aspect as we get going again with it. So, but yeah, I know it's just tough. I mean, even basketball this year doesn't, and I don't know if maybe it's so much I know I've brought up a little bit. I think it might be a little bit it's not 2020, it's 2021.
No
especially
fans.
The basketball, especially that too. But especially too the basketball stuff. It's been literally ongoing now for a year straight, pretty much. So, I mean, I don't know. Anyway,
is the World Cup next year?
Yes. Right? Yeah.
24. Yeah, World Cup's next year, so it's the only time I really get into soccer.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But looking forward to it. But it's been a little bit of crazy, as you can see the topics today.
I mean, the top two have been especially crazy, right? MLB trade deadline. We'll get into it, obviously. I think it's certainly the craziest probably of our lifetime, maybe the craziest one ever.
It is.
Just the way everything went down. NBA free agency, I think we had some stuff happen yesterday. It's been pretty interesting. I wouldn't say it's maybe on par crazy as with, maybe the MLB, but you certainly have some bigger moves. We'll discuss a little bit of that. Now, obviously, Nick, something that we're both excited about for a couple of different reasons, but NASCAR back at Watkins Glen this weekend. Looking forward to that.
We going bowling.
Somebody has a motorcycle goes flying by with the music blasting.
We going bowling.
Go bowling at the Glen, the Cup guys. I'm really excited.
What is that sponsor, Go Bowling?
Go Bowling. They are pretty much the second party promoter of bowling in America, if you will, in a sense.
Bowling the sport?
Yeah.
So an advertisement of another sport on a sport.
Yeah. Go Bowling's been in NASCAR now for 6-7 years, give or take, collectively. I mean, I don't know if they'll be on a car this weekend. I'd have to double check, but if they are, they're going to be probably on Eric Almirola's car. 10 car. Most recent winner in the Cup Series, Eric Almirola. So,
can anyone beat Kyle Larson? We will find out.
Yeah, more than likely. We'll discuss obviously more into that. I'm pretty excited because I have Kyle Larson in my Random Racing Fantasy League this weekend. So,
is he a good road guy?
He's, probably for sure top 10 in the field road racing wise. So
his stats are unbelievable this year.
Yeah, rather ridiculous. maybe not as ridiculous, though, Nick, as the wild trade deadline. Obviously, the deadline itself was last Friday at 4 p.m., but we had trades trickle in from a couple days before and all the way through.
Those last 2 days were nuts.
It was nuts. So, biggest winners, biggest losers, biggest surprise moves. Obviously, I don't know if it's maybe necessarily a surprise, but the way sports work now is if you aren't going to be competitive and you're not going to be competitive for the next year or so, tend to blow things up. We had 2 of the past 5 most World Series champions blow it up over the deadline, with the Nationals obviously 2019 winners, Cubs 2016 winners, dispersing their talents out.
Mm-hmm. And then they played each other.
Yeah.
Our boys Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon not doing so hot.
No. But it was fascinating because you have, for instance, the Oakland A's tend to when they are buyers, and they have been buyers more times than sellers the past pretty much decade for the most part. But they usually don't go after a big, and I don't mean this as a pun, but they don't tend to go after the big fish.
Mm-hmm.
They go out and get Starling Marte from the Marlins, which is an unlike Oakland A move, for instance. And that should have been our first trigger warning that, hey, we're going to have some crazy this crap going on. So, nonetheless, it all trickles out from there. For instance, keep going here, right? Your beloved Pirates, Nick, Tyler Anderson, gets involved in a trade possibly going to the Phillies. Everybody was convinced it was the Phillies until the medicals happened. Next thing you know, he's shipped off to Seattle a couple hours later. Just absolute chaos, Nick. What did you think of it? Because I'll give you what I thought of it quick. The main stuff Friday, I was in the car going to my buddy's bachelor party. So I'm getting updates kind of here and there when I'm able to. Obviously not really looking while I'm driving, but admittedly you kind of are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just absolute nonsense going on. So what were your thoughts? Because for me, behind the wheel was chaotic.
Craziest deadline I've ever seen. Yeah, I was golfing with my dad on Friday, so when I stop golfing, I don't really look at my phone, but I get my phone and I see all these updates on Friday. It's crazy, and then Thursday as well. Just literally everybody they said would get traded got traded besides the Rocky players. The Rockies are literally the only team that didn't trade anybody. The Trevor Stories, the Charlie Blackmons of the world did not get traded. But everyone else seemed to get traded. Everyone they said would get traded did get traded. Yeah, you're right with the Oakland A's. Starling Marte. We haven't seen Oakland make a move like that at that caliber of a player.
And they gave up one of their better prospects in Luzardo, even though he's been up top in the big leagues all year.
Yeah, I would say compare that to move to the John Lester move when they went out and got John Lester. So they don't really go for those type of big name, bigger name players. So that was nice to see. The Phillies did not do much, even though they didn't get Anderson. They got Kyle Gibson. He's been all right this year. He struggled of late, but you got to look at where the Cubs guys went. Kimbrel goes to the White Sox, arguably the 2 best relievers in the game. Hendricks and Kimbrel now on the White Sox. That solidifies their division championship, I would think. The Giants getting Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant's been better this year. It's going to still be tough for them because the Dodgers improved. Mm-hmm. Clearly. They get Scherzer and Trey Turner.
I was going to ask you about that because that was the other main... You want to know what? In all honesty, that was probably the most shocking move collectively, right? Just because of the 2 names that moved in Scherzer and Turner. But the fact that I really thought it was the Padres off the bat.
Yeah.
And almost immediately, I think people forgot to pump the brakes on it because, I forget if it was Rosenthal or one of the other big names. It's hold on, it's not a done deal yet.
It sucks to be a Padres fan to see the Dodgers.
What was the Padres at this trade? Well, I have to say that now because of what happened with Tatis, but
yeah, but it must be nice to be a Dodgers fan and over less than a year span. Get Blake Snell, who was just in the World Series, to get
Dodgers or Padres?
the Dodgers.
Okay.
Must be. I'm sarcastic.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
In less than a year span, to get Blake Snell, who just pitched in the World Series, they get Trevor Bauer, had him, lose him, and then they just get Max Scherzer.
They go lose him.
Yeah, but then they just get Max Scherzer. They replace him with Max Scherzer. So, and they get Trey Turner, who's not a free agent at the end of the year. So, yes, Washington unloaded. Chicago unloaded. Rizzo went to the Yankees. They had Gallo the day before, I believe, or a couple days before. I'm not sure, but before Rizzo. Yankees made some moves. It wasn't just, Clay Holmes and Andrew Heaney.
Well, the Heaney one was like late. That was like buzzer beater.
Yeah, it was, but he didn't pitch so good yesterday.
No, he did not.
But they do get Gallo and they do get Rizzo. Mm-hmm. As a Yankee fan, Paul, does this put them in the playoffs?
No, because we still need a lot of help. I would prefer them to, if you're going to do that Gallo move, rather have been a pitcher-esque player, obviously.
I've heard a lot of Yankee fans.
I'm not big on the Gallo trade. I'm one of the probably few in that side of the Yankee territory that's not a big fan of it overall. Anthony Rizzo, greatest Yankee of all time. I mean...
Good first series.
We'll see. But I like Rizzo's panned out pretty obviously in the immediate, post now 4 days. Really well. Gallo's proven his worth defensively. I'd like to see obviously the bat do a little bit more at this point. The main issue now is we have two of our rotation guys on the COVID list. The scumbag Herman has a bum arm, so he's on the IL. So we'll see what happens.
I've heard a lot of Yankee fans. They can't stand that Brett Gardner continues to be in the lineup.
I hate Brett Gardner. I wish we would stop signing him to one-year deals. I'm not saying Greg Allen should be starting over him anyway, obviously, but Greg Allen's now been up for a couple weeks now because of the way everything shook out with the initial COVID blast that we went through and everything. And he provides such a spark and such an energy boost to that team that I think you got to keep him in the lineup at this point until obviously everybody comes back fully healthy that's supposed to be in the outfield.
What happens when Luke Voigt comes back?
That's the part that's puzzling to me, why they weren't able to get a trade done with him, because he is for sure the odd man out. Obviously, he's pretty much singularly positioned, right? I mean, he's obviously a first baseman, but you prefer him to be a DH for the most part.
Stanton can't play outfield.
No, but I'd rather have him in the outfield than Voigt at first, if you know what I mean.
Well, Rizzo's a great first baseman.
Yeah. Obviously, it's Rizzo's spot. There was enough, which is part I'm surprised about. I'm not sitting here like I'm Rosenthal, who has sources, but I do have a couple, admittedly, through the Reddit sphere, that I figured for sure Voigt would be traded for an arm, and he just wasn't. I don't know. I think it comes down to health at that point. It's tough. I think Voigt's got 1 year left on the deal that he's currently on. I believe he's got 1 or 2 years of arbitration because even though he's 30, he was a late bloomer into the game. So, he does have a little bit of control, but he was a bit of a reclamation project for the Yankees. You got to remember the Yankees pretty much traded pitcher who was DFA'd at the time in Chasen Shreve for Voigt, who was DFA'd at the time by the Cardinals, and pretty much we flopped him with Gallegos and Shreve back over. And that was actually a deal that I heard possibly happening, was Voigt for Gallegos coming from the Cardinals back. Obviously it didn't happen. Would have been interesting to see if it did. Gallegos gives you a nice boost in the bullpen. But he's another late inning guy, so how does he really fit in with Britton, with Chapman? Really at this point, guys like a Louis Saiga. So I don't know.
What happens to Cashman and Boone if they don't make the playoffs this year?
Well, Boone's obviously the one in the hottest of the two seats, right? I think this is probably it for Boone anyway.
Really?
even if they do make the playoffs, I think he's done. This year is giving me a lot of like that last year of Girardi, where he's just lost the clubhouse for the most part at this point anyway. I think it's actually probably a hot seat for a lot of people. Maybe not so on the management side of the team, but playing wise as a team as well. I don't think people realize the pressure. Pressure is probably the wrong word, but probably the microscope going on right now with the Yankees, right? There was a moment of pandemonium on the internet thinking that Judge would be traded since he was withheld from the lineup. And I don't think they'll trade Judge anyway, but I certainly don't think it's out of the realm of possibility if the right deal came along that you would send Judge away. And I don't mean to make that sound as if he's terrible. The guy is an all-star player. The guy is, to get down to it, he is an all-MLB player. They don't have that team, obviously, but it's that type of deal. But, I mean, that group that came up with him, Gary, can make the case, even though they brought him in technically late, Glaber. I don't know how many more pitches they can foul off, no pun intended. I've been barking up the trees saying to trade Sanchez since his rookie year. Glaber is clearly not your answer at shortstop. And at that point, now you have a problem at second base because DJ LeMahieu plays much better overall being at his natural position at second base than he does at first base. Obviously, he's not going to be at first base anymore with Rizzo there, but, the point remains. So, I'd say Boone's for sure hot seat. I think you got players probably on the hot seat even before you have Cashman on the hot seat. That being said, the Steinbrenner conglomerate, whatever you want to call it, Hal's the one in control. I think Cashman's probably safe for another year, but I don't know. I'll put it to you this way. If it was somebody in ownership that wasn't the Steinbrenner family, I'm not sure Cashman's even our GM right now.
I got one more question for you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the pieces that went to Texas and Chicago?
We got lucky in both, in a sense. I think Texas went for... So the perfect example I'll kind of do this with is actually the Dodgers deal for Scherzer and Turner. The Dodgers sent back, besides two other prospects, Keibert Ruiz, Josiah Gray. Literally two of their top five prospects, their top pitching prospect in Gray. I think it was technically their second best position prospect in Ruiz, but he's a catcher. So, big obviously plus side there. So whereas the Nationals went with quality, Texas I think for sure went quantity size of things. That being said, Otto is a very good pitching prospect, but you have guys there who are having very good minor league seasons. Probably guys that still are projected out probably 2023 at the earliest for big league kind of ready. Cubs-wise, again, I think it was just the Cubs more or less trying to get some sort of really good plausible return for them back for Rizzo. They got their big name prospect trading away Baez with the Mets. So, again, not going to sit here and complain for what the Yankees gave up. They certainly did not give up any of the big names that I didn't want to see go. Yankee fans can say what they want about Clark Schmidt. I'm pretty big on him. I was very upset to see him initially in that Gallo deal. And the way it just panned out, it worked out really well. So that's kind of, I think, where I kind of stand with that to a degree. That being said, thinking about the winners and losers aspect of this, you have to say the Mets won because you have a guy with Baez there who... Well, the Mets actually probably won and lost, right? Because really the only big-name trade they made was Baez. And he is willing to stay there. He's willing to make a position change to stay there. And you get Francisco Lindor's best friend, pretty much. That being said, I think if you're a Mets fan, you'd really have loved to see them make a move in the bullpen side of things. They didn't. A couple other teams. I didn't understand. I mean, the Diamondbacks have pieces there. I think that they could have. They were good enough to help teams. I don't know why they didn't sell, like, fire sale. So I'm questioning what's going on there. I consider them a loser. Big winners, I think, are easily the Dodgers and the Padres. I think you have to make the case for the Giants as well. Obviously, getting Chris Bryant, who has pretty much played everywhere this year for the most part. I think he's started in 6 different positions this year. So, me trusting there. And a little bit of a shout-out. I wouldn't say they're winners. Definitely not losers. But shout-out to the Mariners at the deadline. Quite the interesting deadline for them. Graveman deal, quite a questioning, but it actually kind of sounds like there might be a little bit stuff behind the scenes we didn't know about Graveman in the clubhouse. So,
what do you know?
What?
What do you know?
I heard that Graveman didn't get along with some people.
Really?
Yeah, which is interesting, but I'll put it this way. I would have considered the Mariners a loss if they didn't bring in Diego Castillo. But they were able to make that deal, pretty much get your guy. And you get an upgrade in my mind, bringing in Abraham Toro. He's a nerd baseball lover like myself's delight. Can play the corner, infield, and outfield positions if you needed him to. In my mind, pretty much an A-plus bat when it comes around. And he certainly has sold that so far, so I'm all on board.
I would say my biggest surprise move was Kendall Graveman definitely going to the Astros. I just didn't see it coming. But you sound like you know something.
I don't think anybody really did. That wasn't even a deadline day move. That was what, like Wednesday night technically?
Yeah, well, the Mariners had just beaten the Astros, comeback win. Winner is obviously the Dodgers. Loser is the Phillies. The Phillies didn't do enough. They're right there. Didn't do enough. Kyle Gibson's not enough. Even if they got Tyler Anderson, still not enough. So the Phillies are my loser. The Dodgers are my winner. But it's going to be an exciting race. The Yankees need to make the playoffs, or some people are going to get fired. That's all I got to say on them.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to be fired either way, I think.
I like the Nelson Cruz to Tampa.
Yeah, how about that? And then the Twins obviously sending Barrios off, but didn't send Buxton off. The one name that I thought for sure was going to get moved.
Shout out Adam Frazier.
Frazier.
Good thing Reynolds didn't get traded.
The Pirates have now a very interesting young nucleus. So I'm intrigued by what they kind of do.
We'll see.
Again, would like to see what they would be able to do with a little bit better pitching staff. Because that offense can certainly get the job done. It's proved that this year.
Yep. They're young. They're not there yet.
Who's the oldest player on that team? Not to get off topic. Is Stallings the oldest player, position player?
He could be.
That's nuts. And he's only, like a 5-year big league vet or something like that?
Yeah. He could be the oldest. I don't think there's any veterans.
It's wild. Anyway, speaking of veterans, NBA free agency. Not as wild, but we had some wildness.
Did our team steal the show yesterday?
I'm going to say no. Because I don't know what the hell the Lakers are really doing. Let's start with they trade, even though it's not free agency, they traded for Russell Westbrook, sending away literally like their only shooter in Kuzma. A team that needs shooters. You bring in Russell Westbrook, who people don't really know this, by volume is the worst three-point shooter in NBA history.
Well, you just watch him shoot. It's not surprising.
Yeah. And then they let Caruso walk.
And then they signed Melo.
Yeah, they signed Melo, which is questioning.
I think they're doing a terrible job.
They re-signed Dwight Howard, which is questioning. A lot of questionable things going on in the Lakers end. I don't know what they're doing. Kawhi opted out. I don't know what he's going to do.
He's taking load management from the offseason.
Yeah. I think he's probably going to resign with the Clippers, right? But it's going to be interesting to see because I think he'll actually will listen to teams. Chris Paul opted out, but he re-signed with the Suns, which was pretty much the worst known secret. Kyle Lowry's a member of the Heat. The Knicks land Evan Fournier.
And
bring back pretty much that core that was all free agents.
They improved.
Definitely improved. So, Nick, I mean, what were your initial thoughts? Because last night, obviously, free agent. Obviously, you can't sign until what? Technically, like August 6th or something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
But the new league year started yesterday at 6 p.m., so it allows for you to finally do the actual contact, even though it was already happening behind the scenes. It's going to be interesting because now I think you're going to see the way free agency is shook out, and we can discuss, obviously, the free agent stuff too. But it's interesting because now I think you're going to see guys like Pascal Siakam get moved and stuff like that. So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, no tampering involved. Just because people sign right at 6 o'clock doesn't mean they were talking before 6 p.m. They just quickly texted, yeah, I'm ready. Mm-hmm. But no, one word to describe my feelings of yesterday's start of the season: loyalty. Because we have some loyal Knicks on the roster, finally. I was telling my brother Matt, who's also a Knicks fan, we haven't had Knicks to stay Knicks, you know. We've had Kyle Quinn, we've had Courtney Lee, we've had, Kristaps Porzingis, we had, just a number of players like that. They stick around for a couple years and then go elsewhere. We need to get some guys that stay for 3 years. And then what do? We go out and we sign guys to 3-year deals, hopefully keeping Randall for long term. Try to keep, the core of the team. Let's keep the team together. Sure, we're going to lose pieces like Reggie Bullock, but we upgraded with Evan Fournier, who is definitely an upgrade over Bullock. Bullock is a great guy. He's just a shooter, though. Fournier can shoot, and he can also score. He just has more game than Bullock, so it's definitely an upgrade. Bringing back Rose was number one priority in my mind, but just to see Burks and Noel sign so quickly show the loyalty of them. They want to be there. We have the team back. We upgrade, like I said, Fournier over Bullock. We still need another point guard, I believe, because right now Rose would be the starter. I'd like to see him get to the bench.
Oh, wow. I mean, the disrespect you're showing to the Emmanuel quickly.
He's just not a point guard. He's a 2.
All right.
So it's it's looking good right now. I'm looking at the team like this. We have no starting point guard. We got R.J. Barrett. We got Fournier. We got Randall, and we got Mitchell Robinson. Backing up Robinson is Noel. Backing up Randall is Toppin. Backing up Fournier is Burks. Backing up Barrett is Quickly. Backing up missing starting point guard is Derrick Rose. With all that being said, we have a decent draft. We draft shooters. I love what the Knicks are doing. We were never going to trade for Bradley Beal. We were never going to trade for Damian Lillard. The asking price is way too much for those people. So I like what we're doing. I trust the process. You got to remember, we're still rebuilding. We're still trying to build these players up, trying to get these young guys' talent stronger. I like what we're doing. Don't know what the Lakers are doing. I don't know what the Lakers are doing.
Yeah,
Russell Westbrook, I think, is the definition of a playoff choker, loser.
Well, it's not so much that, but we need to think about the context like this, right? So Russell Westbrook signs that max deal in OKC, right? Four now, well, technically 3, but really 4 years ago, right? Presti moves off of it, moves it to Houston, right? Houston's all like, yeah, we'll give it a go. It's Russell Westbrook, right? After 1 year, they're like, nah, we're going to move off this, right? Washington sees it, goes, hey, it's Russell Westbrook. Let's take a run with this, right? Now he's moved on to his 4th different team in 4 years. Because Washington even's like, nah, we're going to move off of this. Something's going on. I mean, we know Westbrook has this quirkiness about him, right? I'm not too sure how else it's going to fit in. And the other part that's interesting about Westbrook too, right? And this has come out now in the past week or so. I don't even know if you probably know this. Do you know that the initial plan with the Clippers was supposed to be Kawhi and Westbrook?
No.
Yeah. So, well, allegedly. The plan was always Kawhi and Paul George. But Kawhi's people get a call from Westbrook's people and get them together on this phone call, right? And Westbrook's like, we got to team up, whatever, and we can do this in LA, right? And I guess Kawhi is like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, Hutton, obviously, whatever. And pretty much was just like to Paul George, like, can you, hey, he wants to do what we're doing, and they did without him. So there's something up. I don't know what. I don't want to speculate because, like I said, we all know he has this quirkiness. So.
And he likes to hold the ball a lot. He likes the ball in his hands.
Like I said, NBA's worst three-point shooter by volume ever.
Yeah. And you got LeBron, another year older, coming off an injury. Anthony Davis can never go a season without injury. I don't know. And then
the Lakers are like a very old roster now when you look at it.
And now they're signing all these old guys to minimum deals.
Yeah.
Like Ariza, like Howard.
Apparently Pelinka got a hold of Danny Green's agent and was like, hey, take this minimum deal. And apparently there was a laugh on the other side of the phone.
Really?
Yeah.
He's not doing it.
No.
And then
that being said, he might turn and burn and go ahead and do it.
And after all these years, LeBron has finally taken Melo on his team.
Yeah.
If
Melo's the shooter you want, you're in trouble. I don't mean that as like a negative comment. I know I've said, obviously on here, but also to other people kind of in general. I mean, you know where I stand on Melo.
He's going to be on Boeheim's Army next year.
But, no. But if Melo is your replacement for Kuzma's three-point shooting, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. He can't stay consistently like that. He had a good year last year, I heard, but
I mean, he did, but he was also coming off the bench.
Yeah, so it's a mess. That's not how they're going to win a championship. They proved it last year. They had Davis and LeBron play. Sure, they'd missed some time, but they played, and they weren't very good. They finished with a 7 seed, and then got bounced in the first round. It's not going to work this time. I think the Lakers are just hoping for the best. It's just not going to work. Case closed. But now the Heat, Paul. We just keep seeing all these big threes. Before I talk about your Heat, I got to talk about Chicago's big three. Or whatever Chicago's doing. DeRozan, Ball, Levine, Vukovic. Not going to work. Chicago is not going to work. I love to see DeRozan, who I like, and Lonzo Ball play a game of knockout. Just let them go at it. See how long they take to finally make a three-pointer.
Well, Lonzo can shoot. Lonzo's actually been sneakily the most improved player over the past 2 seasons in the NBA.
Sure. It's not going to work in Chicago. I don't see it.
I mean, they're still a bigger name away.
But now with the Heat, I like Kyle Lowry. I think he's a great shooter.
You like Kyle Lowry?
Kyle Lowry.
There you go.
I think he's a great shooter for a point guard. He's a winner.
Oh, that's the part you're excited about, because I'm excited about his defense.
I'm definitely not excited about that Duncan Robinson deal.
Oh, I am.
It's a little much.
No, it's not.
It's a little much.
It's $18 a year.
For Duncan Robinson.
You don't understand what he does. He gives them spacing on the floor.
I guess not.
So hold on. I got a question for you then. Would you rather have Duncan Robinson at 5 years, $90 million, or Davis Bearden's at 4 years, $100?
I think David Bearden's good. He can shoot. He's a sniper. You talking about the guy in Washington?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Bearden's
a sniper.
can't move.
He's a sniper. One of the best 3-point shooters in the game. You could pay him billions of dollars. He's worth it. That guy's a sniper. But
Bearden's is just Steve Novak. Steve
what's
Novak.
wrong with that?
Steve Novak sucks.
Whoa.
Steve Novak was the second best player on a playoff Knicks team.
That's not true.
Yeah, he was.
That's not true. That's not true at all. But give some credit to Stoudemire. Anyway, Lowry is a huge piece for this Heat team that already has Jimmy Butler, the most underrated player in the game, and Bam Adebayo, where him and Jimmy just went on some jungle cruise together. So they got one of the better coaches in the game. I don't know, Paul. You're the Heat fan here. What do you think about the moves? You like them?
Yeah, I mean, this is...
You miss Dragic.
Well, yes, I will miss my beloved Dragon. But this is definitely we're going for in the next 2 years move. You have Jimmy Butler opt in. get Lowry on a sign and trade. I mean, we're going for it within the next couple of years, and that's what we're doing. This is Pat Riley's probably last dance, if you want to call it that. I don't think they're done making moves, but I don't know who else they can really go get. I mean, we're in on the alleged Kawhi sweepstakes, but I don't know if the money's just not there for Kawhi. That being said, we got Markieff Morris. So if you're one of me who believes this, we just got 2 players for the price of 1. Because him and his brother look incredibly alike, and you don't know which one's which.
But if he's shooting bad, it's definitely Markieff.
Yes. I think in the grand scheme of things, Lowry obviously is an improvement over Dragic. This team really now is really good defensively. Certainly probably could make the case collectively the best unit in the East defensively. That being said, it will be really interesting at this point seeing the possibility of a starting lineup, in all honesty, with the Heat this year, with Lowry at the 1, Duncan Robinson at the 2, Jimmy at the 3, Markieff Morris at the 4, and Bam at the 5. That's a very interesting starting 5. I'd like to see a bigger fish, if you will, a bigger whale, as we call it in Heat culture. But I don't know. I like to think, like I said, I think we'll get one more move done, but I don't know who it's really going to be. Obviously, DeMar's going to Chicago. So, I don't know. A name to keep an eye on. I don't think he's coming to Miami at this point, but Spencer Dinwiddie.
You like him?
Well, I'm a big Dinwiddie guy, and it sounds like he's not going to go back to the Nets. And understandably, he is a starting point guard in this league. You're not going to start there if you're him. So,
in case you're wanting to heater up 1 over the Lakers with 17 seconds to go.
Oh, thank you.
In the NBA Summer League.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Dinwiddie, you all know what? I mean, I don't know if they have the money to really swing it, but Dinwiddie would be a really good fit on your Knicks. So
we ain't taking that trader. We remember his comments.
Oh, I'm just saying.
We are not taking him. We don't have room for him.
I'm just saying.
If he wants to take the Phil Pinson spot, he's got it.
I'm just saying he'd be a good fit.
Sure.
So,
we don't need him.
Anything else NBA wise?
Yes, I have to tell you on your Lakers.
Nick's got breaking news.
Lakers Heat game tonight.
I don't care about Summer League.
Yurt 7. Do you know who this guy is?
No.
Yurt 7. Yurt 7.
Nick, I don't know who that is. Or what that is.
Miami Heat.
All right, I'll let you figure that out as I start talking about NASCAR at the Glen.
Omar Yurt 7.
Okay.
From Georgetown.
Okay.
Has 25 points for the Heat tonight.
Neat. All right. You ready to talk about NASCAR, Nick? Because we have exciting news about you with that. You are going to the race.
Yes, I will be driving the pace car.
Wow.
Yes, it's going to be a unicycle.
I don't think that's feasible.
I will have a horn.
Oh, okay.
I will be squeaking it.
Oh, never mind. That you're in fair play then.
Yes. No, I will be there on Saturday.
That's exciting, though. Your first NASCAR event.
Yes. I got to pick up my credentials, and I will be in the pits and the garage.
So I have some tips for you, Nick.
All right.
All right. If you are going to be in the pits in the garage, I'm guessing you probably have. Do you have the hot pass or the cold pass? Do you know? Or is it just a straight up media credential?
There's one that's called a hard pass.
Oh, you have a hard card.
Yes.
Okay.
I gotta pick it up.
Here's the thing: you gotta keep your head on a goddamn swivel. Okay. Last thing you want to be is the guy getting hit by a car or a crew member. Don't get in their way.
What's a hard card?
Hard card is. It's up there. You can go a lot of places that most people can't. All right. The closest I've ever been to stuff like that, me and my dad, obviously in 2019 at Richmond, got Xfinity Series garage passes. Technically cold. They're called cold passes. But even then, you're kind of sometimes in the way of certain people. You gotta stay out of the way. Let the crews do their thing. Let the cars do their thing. But you just gotta keep your head on a swivel, right? Head on a swivel. Never know what could be coming. But you're going to be in a lot of interesting spots that a lot of people don't get to see.
Really?
So don't be afraid to take advantage of it either.
Take my phone out?
Within reason. Within reason. Obviously, I'm not too sure what you're going to be doing job-wise there.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to write yet, but take it all in.
But just, take it in. Obviously, if I do stuff for your job, do that. But don't be afraid, to kind of be in the moment a little bit. Also, ear protection. Make sure you have some ear protection. Earplugs, stuff like that.
It's loud.
Very. Very loud.
Even the trucks.
Oh, yeah. Well, the trucks are just pretty much the Cup car chassis with a truck body on it. They're by far my favorite series in NASCAR. So.
Really? What about the ARCA?
ARCA runs Friday night. It's going to be a bloodbath. You're going to see a lot of young rich kids wrecking cars. Anyway. We'll circle back to that. NASCAR back to the Glen for the first time since 2019. Obviously, the pandemic last year canceled the race. Ended up being moved to the Daytona road course. But I'm excited. The stock cars return, both ARCA. ARCA technically returning for the first time in, I think, 20 years, give or take. Trucks as well. I think it's 23. But they were both scheduled to come back last year, but obviously it didn't happen. Expanding Cup have been there for a while, obviously. Really looking forward to it. Going to be interesting, especially with, obviously, the Delta variant. How people are going to be acting, how people are, but nonetheless, we're looking forward to it. Obviously, there's something... I try describing this to people all the time. There's something about... Because the way I go in, I just go in pretty much the straight, the front way in, the way a lot of people do, right? 414 to County Road 16. And there's just something about cresting that second hill at 16 where you see the grandstands for the first time just pop up over this seems to be raised ground. I get goosebumps every time I see it. I'm getting some goosebumps right now talking about it. There's something about it, seeing the iconic powder blue paint, right? And then when you finally get there, walking in, it's, you can say what you want about road courses in NASCAR, but it seriously is my favorite track in NASCAR. Nothing quite like it. I mean, it's the best. It is America's home for road racing, and I love that it's practically in our backyard. So I'm looking forward. I'm happy that you get to experience this, Nick, because we've been talking about for a while now. Finally getting into a race, and it didn't seem like it was going to happen this year, obviously with me, but you're getting your way in anyway.
Yeah, I'm just gonna enjoy it. See what's up. Saturday. 4 p.m. is the Xfinity race.
Yep. Trucks at 12:30, I believe.
Yeah. It's not the big boys, but it's something.
You will get trust me, the way those races play out, you will get a show because it's going to be interesting with the Truck Series. This is the Truck Series regular season finale race. It's our last race before the playoffs. There is a playoff spot available if somebody wins. They'll knock somebody out. That's the way it is. So strategy's going to be plenty in that race, and the Trucks always put on a really great show.
And how long has it been since they've been to Watkins?
The Trucks haven't been there since 99 or 2000. I can't remember which year exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Why this year?
Well, it was supposed to be last year.
Really?
Yeah. Why? I think this will give the Trucks another added spicy thing to it. They've been running really only one road course for a while now, and that's the Mosport track up in Canada. And, I'm really hoping that will stay on the schedule. It's been tough. They ended up I think it's more than likely that race is getting postponed. I think it technically did already. But, I mean, the Trucks at the Glen, I mean, that's, kind of like a deal made in heaven. I mean, the Trucks were a series that initially started as meant to be short tracks and road courses to give guys and girls the experience of driving stock vehicles for the first time, more or less, at the big level. Go ahead.
Do you recommend me driving through Watkins Glen to get there?
You're really going to have no other choice for the most part. If you want to, you can cut... The main I shouldn't say it's a problem. I mean, it's just the way it is, right? There is that one back way in that you can take, kind of like the old course, as you call it. You go around the back side of the state park and in. But either way, you kind of still have to go through downtown anyway that way.
Packed.
Huh?
Packed with people.
I mean, Watkins Glen is always packed no matter what.
Yeah,
it's got one of the best freaking state parks in the country, right? So no matter what, it's going to be packed. Sunday is always a nut house. I mean, Saturday is not as bad, but still pretty bad. But Sundays is always just maddening. I always recommend, obviously, the earlier the better, no matter what. I know, like this year for me, it's the first year I'm not biting the bullet. I'm going with some college friends. We're meeting up. We're staying in an Airbnb down at the other end of Seneca Lake. And this year I was just more or less like, I'm done driving back and forth each day. If we can't camp there, we'll get an Airbnb or something. So that's what we're doing. But, yeah, and that type of deal, like I said. I mean, this earlier the better. No matter what, you're going to have to clip downtown some type of way for the most part. But, yeah. If you're riding with somebody, I recommend carpooling with somebody down. I don't know if that's going to be an option for you. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Who do you like this week?
Nick, I'm so happy you asked me that because the road courses are some of my favorite stuff to predict. There's always an element of surprise. So, let's start with the ARCA series on Friday night. It is live on FS1 if you get it at 6 p.m. If not, perfectly understandable. I will probably be at the race. I'm going Ty Gibbs.
It's the only night race of the weekend, too.
It's not a night race. It's like a very short race that they're going to be doing, yeah. So, Watkins Glen doesn't have lights.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Oh.
So, I'm going Ty Gibbs. Probably will dominate either way. Truck race on Saturday. This is probably one of the bigger toss-ups of the weekend. I'm not too sure who's going to really come out and dominate in there. That being said, I'm going to take a sentimental pick, even though I know he's probably not going to do it. Give me Paul Menard. He's running
on
the trucks
Friday.
On Friday. Or Saturday in the trucks.
Oh, who we got Friday?
Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs.
The Xfinity race on Saturday, again, probably seems like an obvious pick. I'm going AJ Allmendinger. Sunday's the real tricky one, right? Do you go Chase Elliott? Do you go Kyle Larson? Do you go Truex? Do you go Kyle Busch? I'm going none of them. I'm going Brad Keselowski.
I'm going Chase Elliott.
How noble of you.
And on Saturday, I'm going Kyle Busch.
Rowdy Busch.
He's in the Xfinity.
I don't think he's running, no. He's not running the Xfinity race.
Kurt Busch.
Not running the Xfinity race.
Carl Edwards.
He's retired.
Give me a name.
Justin Allgaier.
That's who's winning.
Okay. Interesting. So make sure you tune in, or if you're going, obviously, maybe I'll see you there. Give me a shout out if you are. Give Nick a shout out if you somehow see him just meandering about, becoming one of NASCAR's biggest people.
Yeah, I guess so. Big fan.
Yeah. All right, Nick. Before we get out of here, who are you shouting out this week?
I'm going to shout out our good friend Fletcher Reese.
Fletch.
You know, he's going back to the fantasy baseball. Oh, first time going fantasy baseball playoffs. First time he's been in fantasy playoffs in our leagues. Jerry won since 2017, his first year. So, Fletch, is he going to be a champion?
Nice.
Is he going to be a champion?
Oh, I didn't realize that was actually a question.
Yeah, is he going to be a champion?
Yes, why not? Why not Fletch?
Shout out Fletch.
All right. As always, guys, like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff for Finger Lakes 1. They help us out a lot, so help them out. Big trade deadline. Hope everybody liked the craziness. NASCAR at the Glen. Make sure you tune in and watch. We'll catch you guys in a couple weeks for our next episode of Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice.